Have you ever wondered how the mighty Roman Empire, a civilization that shaped the Western world, came to be? The story isn't one of blueprints and council meetings, but a tale woven with gods, mortals, betrayal, and a she-wolf. It all begins not in Rome, but in a place called Alba Longa. The king of Alba Longa, Numitor, was a good and just ruler, but his younger brother, Amulius, was consumed by jealousy and ambition. In a ruthless grab for power, Amulius overthrew Numitor, imprisoned him, and to ensure no heirs could challenge his throne, he forced Numitor's only daughter, Rhea Silvia, to become a Vestal virgin, sworn to a life of celibacy. But the gods, as they often do, had other plans. Mars, the god of war, was captivated by Rhea Silvia's beauty. From their union, twin boys were born, Romulus and Remus. When the usurper king, Amulius, discovered the existence of the twins, he flew into a rage. He saw them not as innocent babies, but as a direct threat to his stolen crown. He ordered a servant to take the infants to the Tiber River and drown them. But the servant, moved by pity, couldn't bring himself to commit such a heinous act. Instead, he placed the twins in a small basket and set it adrift on the river's current, hoping fate would be kinder than their great uncle. The river, as if guided by a divine hand, carried the basket to a calm spot near a fig tree. There, a sound pierced the air, the cry of hungry babies. It wasn't a human who found them, but a she-wolf, a creature often feared. Yet this she-wolf, later named Lupa, didn't see prey. She saw two helpless infants. In an act of incredible maternal instinct, she gently nudged them and began to nurse them, saving them from starvation. A woodpecker, a bird sacred to Mars, also helped by bringing them bits of food. This incredible scene, a wild beast nurturing human children, would become the enduring symbol of Rome's origins. The twins' survival wasn't left to the wilderness for long. A shepherd named Faustulus was tending his flock nearby when he discovered the miraculous sight. He and his wife, Acca Larentia, had long wished for children of their own. Seeing this as a sign from the gods, they took the boys home and raised them as their own sons. Growing up in the rugged hills, Romulus and Remus became strong, charismatic, and natural leaders among the other shepherds. They were known for their bravery, often defending their flocks from wild animals and their community from raiding parties. They were tough, resourceful, and unaware of their royal lineage. As the years passed, the twins grew into formidable young men. Their reputation for leadership and courage spread throughout the countryside. One day, during a festival, a dispute broke out between their group of shepherds and the shepherds of King Amulius. In the ensuing fight, Remus was captured and taken before the king. Faustulus, the shepherd who had raised them, knew the time had come to reveal the truth. He rushed to Romulus and told him the entire story of their miraculous discovery by the river, the she-wolf, and their true identities as the grandsons of the rightful king Numitor. Filled with a righteous fury, Romulus rallied his band of loyal shepherds. He marched on Alba Longa, not as a raider, but as a liberator. The city's inhabitants, weary of Amulius's tyrannical rule, quickly joined his cause. Romulus stormed the palace, defeated the guards, and confronted the man who had ordered his death years ago. The tyrant Amulius was overthrown, and their grandfather Numitor was restored to his rightful throne. Justice, at last, had been served. With their grandfather back in power, Romulus and Remus were hailed as heroes. But they were not content to simply be princes in an established kingdom. They were men of action, born leaders who wanted to build something of their own. They decided to return to the place where their lives had been saved, the 7 hills by the Tiber River, and found a new city. This decision, however, would lead to the most tragic chapter of their story. The brothers couldn't agree on which of the 7 hills to build their city upon. Romulus favored the Palatine Hill, while Remus preferred the Aventine Hill. The dispute grew heated. To settle it, they decided to turn to augury, a practice of interpreting the will of the gods by observing the flight of birds. Remus, on his hill, was the first to see a sign. 6 vultures flew overhead. He declared it a victory. But shortly after, Romulus saw a much more powerful omen on the Palatine Hill, a flock of 12 vultures. The argument intensified. Who had the gods truly favored? The one who saw the sign first, or the one who saw the greater number? Romulus, convinced his sign was superior, began to dig a trench and build a low wall around the Palatine Hill, marking the boundary of his future city. Remus, in a fit of mockery and defiance, leaped over the half-finished wall, taunting his brother about how easily it could be breached. In that fateful moment, Romulus's patience snapped. Enraged by his brother's disrespect for the sacred boundary of his new city, he struck Remus down. The celebration of founding a city turned into a tragedy. Romulus was now alone, the sole founder of a city born from his brother's blood. He named the city Rome after himself. This act, known as fratricide, would cast a long, dark shadow over Rome's history, constant reminder of the high price of ambition and the violent origins of what would become a great empire. Despite its dark beginning, the city of Rome grew. Romulus, now its first king, knew he needed people. He declared Rome a sanctuary, an asylum for anyone seeking a new life, exiles, refugees, and outcasts from other lands. People flocked to his city, but there was a problem. They were almost all men. To secure the future of Rome, they needed wives. Romulus hatched a daring and controversial plan. He invited the neighboring Sabine tribe to a grand festival. During the festivities, at a prearranged signal, the Roman men rushed in and carried off the young Sabine women to be their brides. This event, known as the Rape of the Sabine Women, inevitably led to war. The Sabine men, enraged, marched on Rome to reclaim their daughters. The battle raged, and it was the women themselves who brought it to an end. They ran onto the battlefield, holding their newborn children, and placed themselves between their Sabine fathers and their Roman husbands. They pleaded for peace, arguing that no matter who won, they would be the ones to lose, either their fathers or their husbands. Their bravery and wisdom moved both sides. The Romans and the Sabines made peace, and in a remarkable turn of events, they agreed to merge their peoples, with Romulus and the Sabine king ruling jointly until the king's death. From this violent, mythical, and dramatic beginning, the city of Rome began its incredible journey. A city founded by twin brothers suckled by a she-wolf, born from an act of fratricide and populated through an act of mass abduction. It's a story that tells us that even from the most chaotic and violent of origins, something enduring, powerful, and legendary can arise. The tale of Romulus and Remus is more than just a myth. It's the foundational story the Romans told themselves about who they were, a people descended from gods and kings, saved by nature's compassion, and forged in conflict and ambition. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the founding of Rome. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more tales from history and mythology, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. See you next time